In the Bible, the Philistines were some of Israel's greatest enemies. And one of their gods was named Baal-zebub. And it's where we get Beelzebub. It's just a combination of those two words. And Baal means Lord, and Zebub means of the flies. And one of the gods of the Philistines was called the Lord of the flies. Now, it's really interesting because in the Hebrew culture, bees were very honored. In fact, one of the great heroines of the Bible, Deborah, her name means bee. Now, compare and contrast bees and flies. Bees, they eat from flowers. Flies eat from decay and dung. Bees, they live in a hive. Flies have no home. Bees work together. Flies, it's every fly for himself. Bees are armed. They have a sting. Flies just have disease on them. Flies spread disease wherever they go. Bees are a very clean insect. Bees communicate to each other and tell each other where a good batch of flowers is, or where a good place to go is. Bees have a leader. Bees work together. Flies have no communication. Flies are just chaotic and gross. If you see a bee, you don't immediately want to kill it. But if you see a fly, we have fly swatters, right? We don't have bee swatters. And in the ancient times, there was this direct contrast between bees and flies. And just like bees have thousands of individuals, but they're all a part of one unit. So the followers of God are individuals, but we're all a part of a bigger unit. This was the same principle Paul was talking about when he said we're part of the body of Christ. There's me and you and someone else, and we all have different talents and different jobs, and we're not the same, but we're connected. We're a part of the body of Christ. There's a story where one of the kings of Israel fell, and he got hurt very, very badly. And he sent messengers to go to the priests of Beelzebub and ask, "Will I be free?" And on the way to these priests, Elisha meets these messengers, and he says, "Is there not a God in Israel that you can ask? Why is the king going to the Lord of the flies to find out if he's going to be well? Why go to the Lord of decay and disease to ask for healing?" It just doesn't make sense. And it's the same thing for us. You know, during this time of uncertainty, a lot of people are going to a lot of decay. They're going to a lot of false healing to try to make themselves feel good. People are drinking more now than ever. People are going to online porn now more than ever. They're binging on Netflix now more than ever. We all have something that makes us feel okay for just a little bit, even though later it makes us feel even more empty and ashamed. And when we fall through the lattice, it's interesting, the lattice was the railings on the balcony were supposed to hold the king up, but he fell through them. What promised to support him failed. And when what is promising to support us, our jobs or a person or our health or whatever, when it fails and we fall, we tend to be just like this king and rush to the Lord of the flies. We go to that thing that promises to make us feel better, but always fails. And Elisha calls out to us. He says, "Why you go to the Lord of the flies? Is there not a God of heaven? Is there not a God of Israel who can heal you? Who can take away your pain? Who can give you the hope that you need in this time of darkness?" The question is answered in the life of Elijah. I mean, this guy, he heard the still small voice. He saw the fire come down from heaven. He was this amazing prophet, and his whole life screamed to Israel that God is real, that God is big, and that God can answer you. In fact, his most famous story, he says, "If God is God, serve him. and then fire comes down from heaven. And so today when you turn to that thing, just know, it's like sucking down a bottle of flies. It's like grabbing a piece of roadkill and thinking that it'll satisfy you. It's gross. Step away from the Lord of the Flies and be a bee. Join the hive. Drink the pollen and nectar of a flower. You see, flies don't make anything, but bees make honey. And when we become a part of the hive, and when we follow our leader, we will start to produce something that is sweet. It's called the fruits of the Spirit. And it's something that in this time, everyone wants more of. So friend, remember, God's got this. We don't need to chase the Lord of the Flies. We have the Lord of the skies, the Lord of the universe, and He loves you so much. He listens to you, and He will help you when you call out for Him. So today, remember, God's got this. God bless.